Hey, now it's the Rob from 106.1 KISS FM here with my 16-bit colleague.
Hey guys, it's me, Steve, web contributor to 1061evansville.com, and we get mad when you tell us it's on like Donkey Kong and there's no barrels.
That's right. You better bring the barrels. Once again, the best dressed podcast on the internet, if you ask me. I've got an official Nintendo controller shirt.
That's nice.
And is that Bruce Lee I see?
That is Bruce Lee,
on
yes.
your t-shirts?
Yes.
We are always looking good, as always. We're fancy. Welcome to the, I believe, the 18th episode of the 16-bit Superstars. Look at us go.
Yeah.
We're like on season 2, I think, by now.
Yeah, we are.
Either way, today we were hoping to have reviewed the movie Pixels, which I think is a big deal in video game movies, even though I'm hearing, Steve, the movie's terrible. I don't know if you... Have you heard anything?
Yeah, it's all been bad.
I still want to see it.
Yes, I do too.
I almost want it to be bad.
Yeah.
So instead of reviewing the movie, which we have not seen yet, hopefully we'll see it this weekend,
Yes.
we're going to talk about video game movies in general.
Okay.
Movies based on video games. I have a list printed out here, but before we go to the list of movies based on video games, what are some of your most vivid memories or some of your favorite or least favorite movies based on video games, Steve?
Probably my most favorite is, again, the game we talk about all the time, the first Mortal Kombat movie.
Really?
Yeah, when it came out, I went and saw it 3 times in the theaters, just the music, the action, and I mean, it didn't get as graphic as the game did, of course, but that's probably my favorite video game movie.
That was one I'd put on the positive side. I did see that in theaters as well. I want to say like maybe 94?
Yeah, I believe so.
I've got the years over here, I think, but it's hard to watch now, but that first movie was a pretty big deal.
Yes.
And, of course, it went along with the game that gets brought up every episode, Mortal Kombat. I had the soundtrack, I remember, too. Remember the soundtrack and the Mortal Kombat, like, dance remix?
Yes.
Like, the crazy electronic kind of sounding stuff. I had that one. And, yes, that was a cool movie at the time, especially, like, I want to say I was, like, 11 or 12 when that movie came out.
Yeah.
So it was, like, it was kind of cool for me to see that on the big screen.
Yes.
When I was younger, let's see, I believe it was in 4th grade, so this is probably, well, maybe I have it here. Yeah, May 28th, 1993, the very first movie on this list, and it goes chronologically, so this is attributed as the first video game movie, Super Mario Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that one?
I do.
John Leguizamo,
yes.
and who's
Bob Haskins.
That's who it is.
Yes.
Boy, that was a mess.
That was.
Boy, that was a mess, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
And that is, in my opinion, and feel free to disagree if you want to, that is kind of par for the course when it comes to video game movies. A lot of them, even the ones that are financially successful, in my opinion, are garbage.
Yeah.
For example, my second favorite video game of all time is Resident Evil.
Yes.
Those movies, first of all, borrow nothing at all, except for maybe the T-virus, from the video game.
Mm-hmm.
The video game's called Resident Evil because it takes place in this awesome, scary mansion that's filled with zombies that you go through and have to survive and all this kind of stuff. None of that. There's not even a house in the movie. It's all that movie is awful, and you can apply that to all the sequels. Feel free to disagree if you want to.
I disagree as far as it applies to the video game. As a standalone movie, I did enjoy them.
Really?
But as it related to the video game, I definitely see where you're coming from, and I agree completely.
I don't know how many there are, but I've seen like 3 or 4 of them.
I think there's like 30.
That's probably right. I don't like any of them. I really don't.
Oh, wow.
Other successful franchises. Can you think of any? Because I've got a few in mind.
You mentioned that being the first video game movie, but I was thinking the first video game movie was Tron.
Well, Tron wasn't based on a video game. My list is ones. Okay, so it's Tron. You want to talk about Tron?
When we thought of this topic, that was the first one that came to mind.
Really?
I was a little kid when that came out, and it kind of worked in reverse. They made the movie and then the game.
Mm-hmm.
But the movie itself was a game. I mean, the guy got trapped in this gameplay where he was pitted against a rival. I mean, and that was essentially the video game itself.
Yeah.
So that's what I credit, and I mean, that was my first experience as a video game movie.
Tron has a special place in my heart. I barely remember the movie. I know I've seen it once, the old one from the 80s.
Yes.
But I remember growing up, we had the arcade cabinet of Tron in our basement.
Oh, wow.
For a short period of time, and that was really cool having an actual arcade machine in the basement. We had pinball machines too and stuff like that, but I loved video games.
Yes.
So Tron was cool. That video game was very cool. Yeah, that's a well received movie, I suppose.
Yeah.
Other ones that, you know, the one that I have to say is probably my favorite is also not based on a video game, but also features video game characters like Pixels does.
I know what you're gonna say. Go
Wreck-It
ahead.
Ralph.
Oh no. Okay, that's off then.
What were you thinking?
I thought you were gonna say the Wizard.
No, you know, I didn't even think about the Wizard.
No.
The Wizard is not very good also,
Yes.
my opinion. But man, you got those sneak peeks of Super Mario 3
Yes.
and the Power Glove.
Yeah.
Both of those were a very big deal, and that's what I feel like the Wizard's place in history will be.
Yes.
Was basically an hour and a half long commercial for Mario 3 and the Power Glove.
Yeah.
Wreck-It Ralph is a Disney movie. Disney
Yes.
makes very few mistakes. But it featured some cameos that were signed off on by Nintendo, like Bowser. You could see Blinky from, you know, or I think it was Blinky from Pac-Man in there. All sorts of different. Have you seen that one?
Yeah, I have. Oh yeah.
I mean, it's a kid movie for sure, but a
Yes.
lot of fun. That movie, I think, is great. Of course, Wreck-It Ralph based on Donkey Kong. What's the guy's name? Larry, Leapin' Larry, or whatever. Isn't his name Larry?
I thought, wasn't it Fix It?
Fix It Felix.
Yeah.
Fix It Felix.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I don't know where Larry came from. Fix It Felix based on Super Mario, and the game just kind of has references out the butt of great video games.
Yes.
What else?
Another bad one was Double Dragon.
That is,
I believe 95, 94, 95.
November 4th, 1994 is the second
right.
one on the list.
Yeah.
Followed by Street Fighter.
Oh my goodness.
Neither of which I've seen, and I've only heard awful things.
I am a huge Van Damme fan.
I know you are.
And this is probably his worst movie. And I love Street Fighter 2, and this movie was just awful.
So remember, there's so many Street Fighter games. Did you know, and let me know if you did, they made a video game off of the movie version of the video
Yes.
game. And that looked bad too.
Yeah.
So the crazy stuff there. So we mentioned the first three. Mortal Kombat came next with 4, and then came Mortal Kombat Annihilation. What about the Tomb Raider movies? I've never seen those.
I saw the first one. It was, again, as a standalone movie, it was good, but I didn't really make it the connection with the video game.
Sure, I do feel like that was good casting. Like I feel like
Yeah.
if any celebrity resembles Lara Croft
yeah.
most, it would be Angelina Jolie. Doom with The Rock.
Bad.
Never saw it. I
Oh,
know I
really?
wouldn't like that movie.
Yeah.
That's too sci-fi for me.
Yeah, they tried to jump too far into the game by having the final sequence be first person.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
Okay, yeah.
the main good guy was looking for the Rock in first person in the Doom game.
Interesting.
Yeah.
A bunch of Resident Evil games. Also, one I wanted to mention was Prince of Persia. Well, that's got a boatload of money next to it. That one looks like it made a whole lot of money. Have you seen that one?
I have not seen that one.
I have no desire to.
Yeah.
That doesn't speak to me. But Pixels, while I keep hearing bad things, I'm going in optimistically.
Yes.
Hoping we get a chance to see it this weekend. Time will tell. If we do, our next episode will be a review of what appears to be a pile of junk, Pixels, starring Adam Sandler, and I see Kevin James as the president.
Oh, wow.
President Kevin James.
Nice.
So we will talk again next week with episode 19 of the 16-Bit Superstars. So for myself, the Rob.
And for Steve, thanks, guys.